Find this in your notes, please. Is 2.2 notes, day 2. You can see here textbook reference. So it's just 2.2 in the textbook. So trig was a while back, but in 2.1, what did we do in 2.1? Yeah, we did SOHCAHTOA, but it was mostly about tan, and it was mostly about finding angles. And for finding angles, if you remember, you had to do the second function. Do you guys remember that? Okay. This one, we're going to do some cross multiplying instead of doing some second function tans. Okay? So, steps. Number 1, label triangle. Number 2, set up equation. And number 3, the best part of all, solve. Solve. Why is it funny? I don't know. Alright, so here we go. Let's do one of these together. You need what type of triangle, people? Right angled. Where you find the right angle, I always want you to just go straight across that right angle and just label that hypotenuse. Label that hypotenuse. H, Y, P. Now, at this point, it totally depends which angle we're going to work with. Okay, so let's call this D, E, F. So you could work with angle E, you could work with angle F, but you cannot work with angle D. Okay? Just keep that in mind. Let's work with angle F. Why? Because I said so. So, which side is opposite angle F? DE. Good. And then, therefore, the only side left has to be the adjacent. That's how I label. Find that hypotenuse. It's across the 90. Find the opposite side to your angle you're working with, and then the last side will sort itself out. Okay, let's put in some numbers. Get rid of this. Put in some numbers. Let's say that F is, I don't know, 40 degrees. Let's give the opposite a value. Let's say it's 5 centimeters. And I want you to find the adjacent side. So that's what I want you to find. Okay? So which formula am I going to use? Well, the title of the section is tangent, so I'm going to use the tan ratio. But why is it the tan ratio? Because we have information about the opposite side, and we want to find information about the adjacent side. And the tangent, if you remember from the acronym, is TOA. Tangent does the op and the adj. So if I was to blow this slide up and write an equation using tan of 40, what would the tan of 40 be equal to? 5 over the adjacent, which we can call x. Let's just call it x here. So now all you have to do is put a 1 underneath there and cross multiply. Do you think you guys can cross multiply? I think most people can cross multiply. Do you want to do a quick review of cross multiply? Go to the top of your page, draw a fraction. 1 over 2 equals 3 over x. This is a quick review of cross multiplication. Without even thinking, like, what does x have to be? 6. Why does it have to be 6? Because the ratio is half. Half equals 3 out of what would you have to be half? So it's clear it's 6. So how to find that? 3 times 2, that's cross multiply, and then you divide 1. 3 times 2 divide 1. That's cross multiplying. You always divide the thing across the unknown. Because if you were to cross multiply, you would have 3 times 2 equals 1 times x. Why didn't that 3 show up? 3 times 2 equals 1 times x. And then all you have to do is divide by 1 on both sides. So you always divide the thing across x. So you get 6. So let's actually try some of these. Just cross multiply how you're comfortable. All right, let's try these. Mark the angle. Go straight across that angle, label the side. Find the 90. Go straight across, label that side. What? Then that must be x is adjacent. Do you guys think you could handle that? Go and label the next 3. Just label them. Don't do any math yet. Just label them. For the top one, use 34. Okay, everybody use 34. Just pretend the 56 is not there. Okay, 24 is which label? And x is which label? Good, I heard people say it. Did you guys get the bottom left one done? Okay, mark 16, x is 12 is adjacent. Good. Mark 42, x is, and 19 is adjacent. Good, you guys. Now let's set these up and solve them. All of these involve tan. Why do they all involve tan? Because there's nothing given with hype. All of these hypes, there's no information. And if you think about this acronym, SOHCAHTOA, the first 2 both have hypotenuse in them. So if I don't know anything about the hypotenuse, I can't use SO and KA. I have to use TOA. So what does the first one set up as? Tan 23 will equal 12 over x. And then if it helps, put a little 1 under the other side. What's the other one going to be on the right there? Tangent 34. What's this one going to be? 24 over x. Good. Bottom left, what's this one going to be? Tangent 16 equals, is it 12 over x? Or x over 12? X over 12. And the last one, tangent 42? X over 19. So that's the 2 steps at the top of your page. The first step is label. The second step is set up the equation. And the third step is solve. Grab your calculators. Make sure you're in which mode? DAG mode. Grab another color pen, and let's use the technique I learned from Miss Pites. All you have to do is draw a little fish. Or I don't know what that is. Why did I draw it that way? 12 times 1 divided by tan 23. So the proper way to solve this one proper way to solve this one, it would be like this. X equals 12 over tan 23. It's 12 divided by tan 23. What do you notice from the black to the blue ink? What switched? Yeah, it's like you're going to like a dance party, right? Tan 23 is top left. Now all of a sudden it's bottom right. Okay? Because we want to isolate x by itself on the top. X has to be by itself on the top. Okay, 12 divided by tan 23. I got 28.3. You guys okay with that? You should be doing it with me so you get the same answers and you make sure you're doing it right. How about the next one? Again, it's the same process. X and tan 34 switch places. 24 divided by tan 34. I got 35.6. Now the bottom two are a little bit different. Why? Yeah, you can just cross multiply because like in the top two, where's the x? In the bottom. In the bottom two questions, where's the x? In the top. So they're a little bit different. So when you cross multiply here, it's 12 times tan 16 divided by 1. Now to write this properly, do you see how x is already by it or already on the top? You see how x is already on the top? You want to keep it on the top. So this 12 just moves up here. 12 tan 16 equals x. So now you're multiplying instead of dividing. 12 times the tan of 16. This one's 3.4. And same with this one. The 19 slides up at the top. 19 times the tan of 42 equals x. I got 17.1. So if you can label and you can set up and you can cross multiply, you can get 100% on trig. Because that's all it is. Over and over and over again. That's it. It's just if the labels change, you might have to use sine. If the labels are different, you know, it might have to be cos. So let's keep going. Okay, this looks like an interesting page. Why don't we do this page tomorrow? And let's try question 1 on the next page. Let's see if we can do this. A tower is 320 meters high. I can handle that. I think you guys can handle that. Then it says, how long is a shadow when the sun makes an angle of 36 degrees above the horizon? So what's a horizon? A horizontal, right? So horizontal, and then you got to go up how much degrees? 36 degrees. And then the sunshine makes this right angle triangle. And where do shadows live? Shadows are on the ground. And shadows are usually black, like my heart. All right, so how long is the shadow? Let's call the length of the shadow x. Okay, grab me some labels, folks. What label is 320? Good. And what label's the shadow? Adjacent, because the 90 degrees is there, so this is the height, right? Okay, so we have the op. And if I'm just thinking to myself, if this is like a random question, I'm not in the tangent section, so I don't know tangents coming. Which one of those has the op involved? So and TOA. So I definitely can't use cos. So op is 320. I got to use 320. And then I want to find x, which is adjacent. So which one does the op and adjacent? So that's the process of elimination you have to do. And then you just write down the formula, tangent. What always goes next to the trig function? The angle or the side? Yeah. The angle always goes with the tan or the sine or the cos. And then you have an equal sign. And then on the other side, it's always a ratio of two sides. So what's the ratio going to be? Op over adj. 320 over x. Cross multiplying, x will switch places with tan 36. That's the cross multiply switch. Bottom right to top left to bottom right. You can also just cross multiply. I got 440. Let's try the next one. We got a cliff. We got the ocean. Aye, aye, aye. It says the rise is 120. You guys okay with that? Tourist looks down at a boat to be about 200 meters away from the base of the cliff. Okay, so let's mark off 200 meters. And then, folks, for all these questions in trig, it's a right angle triangle. So this is my, in black, is just a right angle triangle that is going to like approximate this situation in the black ink. So what do you notice about this one? They gave you both the sides but not the angle. So let's go and find this angle of elevation right here. Let's go find that angle of elevation. If we're going to find that angle, 120 is the beautiful, Mr. Layden, and 200 is the very nice. So which formula relates op and adj? That would be tan. What always goes next to tan? The angle, which we're calling theta, and it's 120 over 200. Now, how do you get rid of the tan so that I can isolate theta? Especially those that were doing 2.1 while all the other people were doing that test today. The tan minus 1 thing, which is called inverse tan. On the calculator, it's called second function. So it's the inverse. It has a little minus 1 symbol to do that. In some calculators, you're going to need a bracket. 120 divided by 200. It'll prompt the bracket for you. Did you guys get 31 degrees? 30.96, right? Degrees are pretty accurate, so you can go to a whole degree. Did we answer the question? What did it want? And then what you can do is if you sketch this horizontal line, the angle of depression goes down from the horizontal. And what do you know about those two angles? Yeah. So if you're ever asked to find angle of depression, just find angle of elevation, because it's the same. When you're feeling depressed, are you feeling down? So that's why it goes down from the horizontal. And if you're feeling elevated, you feel like you're going up from the horizontal. So, okay, and that's not a good picture. Down from the horizontal, up from those two guys are equal. One more to do. The sun makes an angle of 58 with the ground. What height would a tree be if it casts an 8-meter shadow? Shadow's on the ground, right? That's a pretty huge shadow. Let's make that a bit smaller. Height of a tree, straight up. This is your tree. It's beautiful. Connect. Draw the right angle. 58 with the ground. You read that properly. What would be the height h of the triangle? Okay, I need labels. I need an equation. I need to execute. What's it going to be? H is the... Oh boy. Oh, that's a perfect misunderstanding. Find the 90, go straight across the 90, you get the pipes up here, and so 8 has to be the adjacent. Have to be doing tangent again, good. What goes next to tangent? Good job, you guys. And then you have h over 8. Now, notice the difference between this bottom one and this top one. You see these? What's the difference? H on the top, X on the bottom. So in the top question, you have to do the switch. But in this one, you just pick that 8 up. You say, go over there. It's like you're talking to a dog. You're like, get! Get! Because you don't want a dog near you, right? You're like, get! You like dogs. I hate dogs. Okay, I'll clarify. I like trained dogs. Any dog that's not trained, I despise. Unless they're so cute.